You're watching Level 4 Rhythm, a part of my 5-minute piano theory series. Today, we're talking about triplets, syncopation, and swing eighth notes. You'll get the most out of this video if you have a good understanding of the note values, which we covered in Level 1 Rhythm. Click the link in the corner or in the description to review those. A triplet is 3 notes in the space of 2 notes. For example, 3 eighth notes taking up the same amount of space in a measure as 2 eighth notes normally would, or 3/4 notes in the space of 2. Triplets are an exception to the rules of rhythm. They can feel out of time. They go slightly faster than normal eighth notes or quarter notes. Normally, beats or quarters of the pie are divided in half, giving us 2 even eighth notes. Triplet eighth notes will split the beat into thirds. Here's how we count triplets versus eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Normally, 2 quarter notes equal 2 beats. In the case of triplet quarter notes, half of the pie will be split into thirds. That would be counted like this. 1, 2, 3 and 1, 2, 3 and You may be wondering, where's beat 4? Beat 4 falls between the notes of the triplet. At this time, you can pause the video to complete practice exercise number 1. Syncopation is any rhythm that puts the emphasis on the offbeats. Normally, we put the emphasis on the beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. A syncopated rhythm will emphasize the notes in between the beats. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. But in the real world, syncopation sneaks in here and there and is not quite so obvious. Here's what the emphasis should be. Beats 1, 2, and 3 are fine. Beat 4 is a rest, and the next melody note is on the second half of beat 4, the offbeat, or what we call the and of 4. Then beat 1 of the next measure, the most important beat of the measure, is a tie, so essentially nothing is happening on that beat either. Beats 2 and 3 are fine, but beat 4 is also a tie. A player would emphasize the offbeats while playing this, like this. But syncopation doesn't just have to be the eighth notes. Here's an example using longer notes. Notice some of the beats fall in between the notes, while these dotted quarter notes are being held. Here's a tie on beat 1. And here's another tie. Here's what this would sound like. Swing eighth notes or swung eighth notes are used in jazz and blues music. Here's an example played with standard rhythm, known as straight eighth notes. If you see this equation, or simply an instruction to swing the eighths at the beginning of a piece, you'd play it like this. If it's a slow blues piece, think a lazy, long, short pattern. And if it's a fast-paced swing tune, more like this. Notice there is no difference in the actual notation. The rhythm being played is actually like this. And now you know why we write it the way we do, instead of dealing with this mess of rests and brackets. The rules of rhythm are fundamental, but music becomes much more interesting when we start to break the rules with these variations we have studied today. Next up is Level 4 scales, where we'll cover some new scales, the pentatonic, the blues scale, chromatic, and whole tone scales. And stay tuned for 5-minute piano technique videos, which will help you put these rhythms into practice, incorporating triplets, syncopation, and swing eighth notes into scales and patterns. Thanks for watching.